Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to talk about the Houston Texans potentially signing Mike Evans in free agency, five-time Pro Bowler and one-time Super Bowl champion. It is looking like Mike Evans, the five-time Pro Bowl and the one-time Super Bowl champion, will be headed to free agency. There's been multiple reports over the last couple of days. One of them is that contract extensions between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Evans' current team, and contract extensions have not been going well. Contract extension talks have not been going well. And not only that, but it's also now been reported in the last couple of days that it's very well looking like we will see Mike Evans going into free agency as expected. Now, one of the favorite teams to land Mike Evans in free agency is the Houston Texans. My favorite team, man, we're going to be talking about the Texans potentially bringing him in. I think this is would very well be a good signing for the Texans. I think the reports of him wanting $25 million is a little steep for the Texans. I mean, I think for the Bucs, it might, I don't know how willing they'd be able to give Evans $25 million, especially when they want to re-sign Baker Mayfield. But I know the Texans have a lot of money, so would $25 million hurt to pay a guy like Mike Evans, who's still 30 years old and is still an elite wide receiver, has had a total of, 10 seasons with more than 1,000 yards? I mean, every season he's played in the NFL, he's been in the league for how long? He's been in the league since 2014. This year was his ninth or 10th season. Since he's been in the league, every season he's had over 1,000 receiving yards. This past season he had 1,255 with 13 touchdowns. A great year for him. One of his best seasons since the 2018 season. And he also, the season before 2022, had 1,124 receiving yards with 6 touchdowns. 2021 with the Buccaneers, 1,035 receiving yards and 14 touchdowns. It's the most touchdowns he's had in a season in his career. 2020 was 1,006 receiving yards with 13 touchdowns. So he's an elite wide receiver. He's aging, though, a little bit, and he wants a lot of money. I think that's the only question mark for the Houston Texans into potentially signing him. But Mike Evans is a guy who loves the city of Houston. He's from the area. He's from Galveston, which is a 45-minute drive from Houston, Texas, and is really close to Houston. He played college football at Texas A&M, and he loves other Houston sports. He loves the Rockets. I've seen him at a Rockets game. I even met him at the Rockets game and got to talk with him for about 2 or 3 minutes, something like that. And he even loves the Astros. When the Texans played the Buccaneers earlier in the season, when the Texans made that really nice comeback where C.J. Stroud led the 40-second drive when it capped off and we beat them 39-37 without a kicker, Mike Evans showed up to that game with an Astros jersey. He's a big Astros guy. He's a big Rockets guy as well. And with the Texans needing a wide receiver, I could really see the Texans wanting to bring him in. I just think it'd be interesting to see how much he wants in money from the Texans. He wants $25 million from the Buccaneers. Now, the Texans are capable of potentially paying him more. I'm not saying the Texans should pay him more money, but knowing how players, how they are with wanting money, Mike Evans wants $25 million with the Buccaneers. He might want more money with the Texans. I don't know if the Texans would want to give Mike Evans $25 million with all the other positions they might want to go fill out there. Running back, I mean, if it's either re-signing Devin Singletary or we've heard rumors about them potentially going after Saquon Barkley, they could definitely improve on the offensive line in the draft or in free agency. Also, you have the defensive line to think about. All the other players that you have that are free agents, Jonathan Gennard, Dalton Schultz, Blake Cashman, so many talented players on the team that helped and contributed in the 2023 season that are free agents. So I think even though you have a lot of money, $80 million to spend? I think it's like 70 something. It's like 79 or 78. And it might go up with releasing some players. We've heard maybe Robert Woods could be a roster cut. So could Jimmy Ward. Those are some guys that were paid a lot of money. Jimmy Ward was given, I think, $13 or $12.5 million a year, while we gave I think we gave Jimmy Ward 12 and we gave Robert Woods $8 million a year, so that can clear a lot of cap space in getting rid of those two guys potentially if the Texans do make those roster cuts. So we will for sure have the money spent in free agency. We're one of the top teams. I think we're top 3 of the teams in cap space to spend in free agency, but there's a lot of other positions to go fill out besides wide receiver, and that could, cut off, almost half of your money to spend. I mean, if you got $80 million to spend, then 25 is almost half of it. 40 is half of it. You're almost at half of that money. So I think it'd be interesting to bring in Mike Evans, but knowing his age at 30 years old, and we haven't really seen him slow down. I mean, if anything, we've seen him go up because, we saw his numbers go up this season. His yards per catch went up. His touchdowns went up. His yards went up. His targets went up as well, I believe. Yeah, his targets went up just a little bit. His receptions went up. Everything went up. So, I think it'd be good to bring him in, but at a long contract, I would give him a 2 or 3 year deal at the most. But I think there are other potential good wide receivers to potentially bring in. I would like the idea of the Texans potentially bringing in a guy through the trade market like A.J. Brown or Brandon Ayuk. But I think it's going to be something this offseason that will be interesting to watch with the Texans, what they do with the wide receiver position, whether signing a big guy like Mike Evans or trading for a big guy like A.J. Brown or Brandon Ayuk for that matter. But I think it's going to be a really interesting offseason for the Texans. We've already seen them kick off already. Free agency doesn't even start for another 3 weeks, and we've seen the Texans make a couple signings today. They re-signed D'Angelo Russ, also re-signed Dieter Elselin, a guard. So I think it's going to be a really interesting offseason for the Houston Texans. Let me know your thoughts on the potential signing in the comment section, Texans fans, and peace out.